Good morning. This is environmental science. Our topic for today is all about hydrologic cycle, or in simple terms, it is also what we call the water cycle. So in hydrologic cycle, there are processes involved like evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. We'll discuss that further later. Water cycle or hydrologic cycle is about the movement of water on Earth. It deals with the origin and distribution of water on the globe. There are complex pathways that include the passage of water from gaseous state in the atmosphere to the water state, like oceans, lakes, and rivers. So the hydrological process includes the following processes like evaporation, condensation, precipitation, interception, infiltration, percolation, transportation, and runoff, and storage. When we say evaporation, it includes a liquid to gaseous state. It's a transformation between liquid to gaseous state with the influence of heat. So the natural source of heat is sunlight. Evaporated moisture is lifted into the atmosphere, but some vapor always exists in the atmosphere already. Next, we have condensation. It is the process by which water vapor changes into water. So, water vapor accumulates in the sky, it condenses into dew, fog, or clouds. So condensation takes place due to the cooling of air. This is when the air, the invisible air, condense into cloud. So clouds are form of water droplets that stays up in the sky. Next, after the clouds accumulate, precipitation occurs. It is the process when water particles fall from the atmosphere and reach the ground, or what we call the rain. Precipitated water may fall into water bodies on land. It can then go to streams or penetrate into the soil. So as precipitation occurs, there is also interception. It is the process of interacting the movement of water into the chain of transportation events that leads to streams. So interception is like intercepting a basketball, getting the ball from the other team. As you can see on this diagram, there's a leaf from a plant that intercepts water droplets. That is why some waters do not go directly to the streams or to the ground because it is being intercepted by other objects like plants and also animals or buildings. So when it rains, it first begins with water striking the leaves and other materials that spreads over the surface and collects at the point of edges. Next, we have infiltration, the physical process involving movement of water through the boundary area where atmosphere interfaces with soil. So when the atmosphere uh, interfaces with the soil, so the water from the atmosphere, like the air that goes into the soil, it is called infiltration. The infiltrated water and water stored in the soil can become subsurface runoff. When we say subsurface, it is just beneath the surface of the ground. That is subsurface runoff. When we say runoff, it is running water. Next, we have percolation. It is the movement of water through the soil due to gravity and capillary forces. When we say capillary forces, there are smaller veins in the soil where water passed through due to gravity. All groundwater originates as subsurface water, so it is being stored underground. Next, we have transpiration. It is the evaporation of water that occurs inside the plant. It is being transferred to the atmosphere as water vapor. So if the sunlight, the heat from the sun strikes the plants and then water is being transferred to the atmosphere by evaporation from the plants, it is called transpiration. It is not directly evaporating from the ground, rather it evaporates from the plants. That is transpiration. Next, when we say runoff, it is the flow from a drainage basin in surface streams. So there are rivers, there are streams, there are water flowing on the river, on the streams. It is generally consists of the flow that is unaffected by artificial diversions. So these artificial diversions are what we call dams. If they are not affected by dams, we call them the runoff. They are freely flowing in the surface of streams. When we say storage, they are the water stored in ocean, lakes, reservoirs, glaciers. So they are stored and not moving. There are three basic water storage, like the atmosphere, Earth's surface, and in the ground. So there are aquifers that are not moving. There are lakes that are not moving, and so on. And when we say floods and droughts, there are uneven distribution and movement of water that causes extreme phenomena. So these are floods and droughts, like La Nina and El Nino, like that. It is also affected by climate change because water cycle is a natural process. The climate change is just turning this phenomena the natural occurrence of water cycle is being affected by the climate change. So as a result, we have floods and droughts. Any questions? If there are no questions, this is the end of our lesson. Thank you for listening.